All right, YouTube. Good morning, everybody. We're in our pre-show here, just getting signed up here so all the stations can get the live feed from the fire hall, Amidon, North Dakota. This is the pre-show where you can curse.
It's pretty early in the morning. I'll probably curse all the time.
You got to say that in the mic.
No,
Nobody can hear you.
Good. That's a good thing.
Waylon Turnus, good morning. Old classmate of mine, over by Shields area. What's going on here? Doesn't feel right without sitting on a table here without a beer.
I can get you a beer. No, we don't.
No, don't give me one of those again.
I didn't get grapefruit this year. I'll give you pineapple, though.
No.
I think we're about down to
Thanks for texting and tuning in this morning. Appreciate it. See, we're just making fun of Minnesota. We're glad he wasn't hearing that before we started.
He can't throw rocks that far.
Well, I think 90% of what we'd said, I think he would agree with. Well,
Everybody except for Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, St. Paul. Had a guy on. They can't hear you. Somebody's got to be on the mic. It's like I'm talking to my damn self here. They can't hear anything.
We'll handle it now for you.
There you go. Hey, but there's a person parked right by a bull pasture out there. Minnesota plates, He says, I pull up. I'm like, can I help you? He's like, are you from here? I'm like, yeah. There's no deer. I got a deer tag. I drew a deer tag, and I'm trying to find deer. There's no deer out here. I'm like, I could have told you that. I said, shit, we haven't seen deer for 2 years.
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to go? I'm like, it's a pretty big unit. So I sent him up to Bullion Butte.
Oh, yeah.
I said, if I were you, I'd go to that hill right there. I said, I said it's all federal up there.
Yeah, I've had a few phone calls. A lot of guys coming here bull hunting.
Watch the cords.
There you go. Don't trip over the cords.
And
You guys don't. When do you start? Oh,
looking for places to bull hunt. And I said, well, bull hunters will have an easier time than they will with gun hunters. I said, in my
Usually.
area, it's people will let you on. Bull hunters are I think are probably the cleanest hunters there is. And so he's coming back down and gonna try it here. And I've found some landowners that said he could get on, and I went to high school with his dad, or excuse me, college with his dad. And so now he's coming out here hunting all the time. So he's trying to get acquainted with everybody, and so he gets an in with so he can come out here hunting. So he's coming out early to meet everybody and then come back out a little bit later on. And I thought, well, that's how you got to do it. You just can't rely on somebody just to say, yeah, you can go hunt here and go visit with them. You got to come out and be a little early with things.
You could help fix fence.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
well, this young man would.
Yeah.
So
Tex says you still got the police car out at the edge of town. First time I went through there, he got me. Guy from Minnesota said that. Makes your job a little easier, especially when you have this is your speed coming in and it's flashing at you, and all of a sudden you see the car.
yes,
We just got to get the Canadian flag off of that damn thing.
That's a good way to test everybody's brakes.
Yeah, brake check. Brake check.
You can sit here and watch them.
Yeah. Scott Bulgy, good morning. Thanks for tuning in this morning. I should probably get my other shit ready to go here. Is this ready? It's ready. Whoops. What did I do there? What did I do there? Not in my home studio, and everything's off base for me here, Stations, we got plenty of time here. If you're watching this here as a rerun, you can skip ahead about 18 minutes till we start here. This is just a pre-show BS show. Yeah, I get to help precondition at Turks this morning.
was that right?
Or whenever I get there, I guess.
Yeah, it's that time of year again, isn't it?
He's He's the first branding and the first preconditioning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and it's kind of nice driving around the country. And we were driving. I just come up from Scranton, and yesterday here's cattle out there, and I think it was Norby's in a fresh pasture, and calves really look good. The cows look good, but they're still standing in belly deep grass out there. One he just moved into. So it's kind of nice to see the cattle there. I mean, it's green out there. The only thing that's been troublesome all summer long is flies.
Flies,
and those poor cattle,
they got every corner of every pasture burnt, dirted up,
Yep. And I know guys have sprayed and they've done whatever, and it just didn't matter. The flies have been horrible.
Good for about 2 days or 3
Yeah.
days, and then they're back at it. Yeah, it's been a good year to fix corner fence.
Yeah.
Testing your corner post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a few on the lease place I got to go and redo. I got one railroad tie that got it tipped over about like that already, but it's not rotted out. It's just the ground got soft and they tipped it over. Yeah. Yeah. Made the gate really tight though.
No,
like fence stretcher tight.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to get this cattle market and with what's going to happen here this fall. And, we're going to see some good markets, but my theory is hopefully it lasts for a while, except the consumer is going to decide that whether, for what they want to pay for their beef. And,
just reading this morning that now that anthrax showed up in Hager.
Yes.
Anthrax showed up?
They got several cases in Grant County.
Really?
Heading there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't hear that.
That's getting real close to home.
Yeah, that's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's in the ground. I mean, we all know that. That's just, but you just doesn't need to show up.
How does it spread?
I suppose when they're all flied up in the corners digging dirt and
because
but
it doesn't matter what county. I think it's in the ground somewhere. Because I know there was some south of Scranton here about 30 years ago. And it's soil borne and it's right there.
Oops. I didn't want to do that. There we go.
But again, driving the country just to see everything green.
Yeah.
Morning, Mike Wagner. I'll do a time check here shortly. Time check. I'll do it. Actually, let's go 65500 station 65500 on Mark. Yeah, we don't need anthraxes.
No.
I got LRP on my calves, though.
Yeah. Well,
protect them a little bit just in case you still got a few months here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could drop. I mean, we're seeing the market, but something can change in 60, 90 days pretty fast, I just worry about how much more the consumer is going to be able to take because,
I tell you, fuel prices is getting me this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy expensive.
And it shouldn't be. We all know that. But, we say it all the time that inflation's really at 30% or better. Because everything you buy is 30 to 40, 50% higher than it is. It was a couple of years ago. And they keep saying 8%, 6%. And I don't know.
But everybody's saying, look what you're getting for your crops. Look what you're getting for your cattle. Yeah. It still doesn't cover it.
Corn's dropped to $5 a bushel now. Wheat's at $6. You got to have, with all the inputs, you got to have a hellacious crop to make that work. And I'm not saying that they haven't made it work over the years. Farmers are very efficient, but it's a lot of money. Yeah. All you're doing is handling more money. You're probably not making any more. You're handling more.
The bottom line is still staying or going down. Just the numbers are bigger.
Right.
But they're bigger on both sides.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It is. It's not good. But I hear that all the time. And, granted, we're going to have some 130, 140 bushel corn out here. So at $5,
which all the East River guys listening are like, that's it.
Yeah.
Really?
You guys in a drought?
You know, they're talking 200 bushel corn at Steel, and that's going to be a record over there. I mean, that corn is unbelievable. Well, all the crops over there are really good, but the one that I want to really watch a lot is this canola. I think this canola
looks really good.
You know, we're going to see a lot of 3,000, 3,500 pound canola, and when you see that being lodged, you know there's a crop out there. You know,
somebody told me that there is a hybrid seed of, I don't know which company has it.
super corn.
Is it you the one who told me that? 500 bushel.
That's what they're
corn?
talking. It has it's grown in Nebraska right now on a trial basis, and I've got some videos of it, but it's got to be really under irrigation. That's the only way to make it work. But there were 7 years they pulled off that stock, and they were all the same. And they're talking it's going to be over 500 bushels the acre, this super corn. And I believe, and I shouldn't mention any company names, but I just call it super corn right now. But Pioneer is testing this out, and I've been following it on TikTok all summer long on how it's progressed. And I mean, it's unbelievable what this corn looks like. So when you think about it, the genetics are getting so much better and everything. It still takes moisture, no doubt about it, but the genetics are getting so much better. But if you get 500 bushel corn out there, and I saw the videos of this thing, it's unbelievable. But to get 7 cobs so uniform all the way up that stalk, I mean, out here, you hope for one good one.
Yeah, two is a good day.
Yeah, you know, but that's going to be unbelievable, that super corn. And granted, it's got to be under irrigation in certain areas, but you know, boy,
there's a lot of corn in this country too.
Yeah, a whole lot of corn. Yeah, yeah, it does.
It does. I went into a neighbor's corn yesterday and stole a couple cobs for the horses. The grasshoppers got to that stuff bad. Yeah, it looks good from the road, but when you walk in there, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, there's a lot of places where the hoppers have done some damage there, but boy, you get it. We've got certain areas that are not as good as others, but boy, I'll put our country up against any place else, and Steel, North Dakota, up against any place else. You get other places and it's a little bit drier and just didn't have the hay or the rain that everybody else got, but for our country to look like this, I mean, there's a lot of bushels out there, and that's why you look up in that Beulah, Hazen, Killdeer area, all the way up to Ray that got that storm a couple of weeks ago. There was $1 billion worth of grain taken out of the country, you know.
Yeah.
And you feel bad for those guys. That's just grain. Just think of the damage that's been done to the buildings and vehicles, and so
stations. We're going to do a time check here. 7:00 on the mark here coming up. 7:00:08 if you're in fast time, coming up on mark. 6 minutes, gentlemen. Sorry to cut you off.
It's all right.
It's my show.
What a bully.
He's got a point.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be disheartening as hell to some of them people up there. You know, look, see them beautiful crops, and they got, like you say, the buildings. And all the machinery and everything gets beat up on like that with those storms.
Well, the Great White Combine is not away from us yet.
No.
You know,
but you know that the storms don't seem to be the severe storms, and I know they're around because
climate change is everything. Yeah. I mean, climate change. Look what it's doing. More intense storms.
You know, we had this too when I was a kid.
I know. And here's the thing is you never heard of this, 40, 50 years ago. Well, nobody talked about it. It wasn't on the radio all the time, on TV, and
didn't have social media.
Pop-up thing on your computer.
You know, I know in the 50s and 60s, my dad said they got hailed out every year, on most of it. Or you had rust problems. I remember
a lot of rust
talking about that, the rust and we've had climate change. It's been warming up since the Ice Age. I mean,
what?
Really, yeah.
What? Feel like it last week?
No.
Boy, I got in a conversation about that with a hardcore liberal city slicker gal.
Yeah.
She was talking about climate change. I said, well, do you believe that there was an ice age? Well, yeah. I said, what happened there? I said, There wasn't people driving vehicles at that time to warm it up, and she's just like speechless. She was really wanted to chew me out, but she didn't have one to come back for that. I was like, explain to me how that works.
Yeah.
Of course, it's changing. Eventually, it's going to have to recycle it, right?
They haven't figured out that climate changes constantly.
Yeah.
That is a normal cycle.
But it's a way to make money and scare people.
Yes.
The winter in 1906 and 1907 when my great
I
grandparents
don't remember that.
No, but it was an open winter and warm, and they stayed in a tent and didn't. It was a warm winter all winter, 1906 or 1907. No snow, nothing. It was just. They said it was beautiful. That's all documented in our family history. But when you look at that, you come out here and think you're going to live in a tent in the wintertime, and then they picked a great winter to do it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the DAPL protesters thought they could do it.
Yeah.
Saw how far that went.
That was climate change.
Yeah.
That was climate change.
Yeah, they polluted everything right there.
Yeah. How the t-shirt sales?
Wow, they're just got some old ones.
Okay.
We're just trying to get rid of them. We were going to make some more new ones this year, and we just didn't get it done.
Yeah.
Everything slipped up on us so damn fast.
Yeah, I miss a summer.
Yeah.
I miss June and July already.
Well, I still think it was May.
Why don't you hand the mic over to him? I'll have him start out the show. Give me a little. You got to keep her up a little bit to your face there.
How's that?
Just don't do this to it.
As long as I don't start singing.
What's the
you're
Farm
right.
Credit Services? What's that scoop? Are they sponsoring something here?
Yeah, well, they have over the last few years.
They have. Okay.
They've given us some huge grants for
Have they?
trucks and stuff.
Good. All right, stations here. We got 703, 704. A couple minutes here. Yeah, I just got to keep the mic a little closer.
Okay.
There you go.
We can do it.
That helps. Still the chief?
Yep.
Joe's assistant chief?
Yep.
What the hell's he been?
Good question.
I heard Jamie kicked out one of the lodges for smoking. Is that true?
Yeah, she didn't quite kick him out, but
Yeah.
she went over and expressed her displeasure with him.
Her concern about everybody's health.
Yes,
Is
yes.
what she concerned?
Her version of climate change, I think it was. She had a good one here. There was a guy in here getting a little obnoxious about wanted his burger right now. I don't know whether he thought it was McDonald's or what. Come running up. Well, he never got off the phone from the time he walked in the door until he was up here bugging us. And where's my burger? What are you guys doing? Killing the cow? Or
Oh, geez.
she says, "Nah, we're just taking the moo out of it." He turned around and went and sat down. That was kind of good.
Some people, they just don't have the patience, man. What's up with that?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. All right, we're 60 seconds of showtime here. Good morning, Scud. Heading west to do some scouting and fence fixing. So now there's a guy.
Yep.
He came out to my branding this year, and he's big into working with the game and fish, figuring out access and everything out west. And is there too many hunters? Especially bow hunting. Everybody wants a mule deer. So bow hunters, everybody comes from everywhere out here for that, right? And he has connections up north of here. Goes out there, I don't know, maybe a couple times every month. Helps him out. That's the connection the guy needs to make. And a lot of people, well, we don't have time to do that.
Yeah,
Then you don't have time to hunt.
Right.
Yeah. It's like people that come out and say, "Oh, you charge an access fee to hunt elk?" Yep. All right, stand by. Morning, Jim. All right, 10 seconds. Good morning and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors, live from the Amidon Firehall, Amidon, North Dakota, as they're in the last weekend. It might be bike rally weekend for a lot of people, but this is the last weekend for the Amidon fundraiser. Burgers, brats, beer, beverages, and maybe a little BS in there too, right?
A touch, yeah.
A touch here and there. Sitting with me here today, only one microphone to share here. The fire chief from the Amidon Fire Department. If you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate that. If you're listening across the great radio stations, KGFX in Pierre, South Dakota. Thanks for tuning in on there. KOLY in Mobridge, K-Fire 550, Bismarck, Mandan, KCJB in Minot, and in the Western Edge, KLTC. Appreciate you guys tuning in on terrestrial radio as well. Dick Fredericks, how you been doing?
It's been a show and a half this year.
Well, this is your only fundraiser for the Rural Fire Department of Amidon. And fortunately, you said you've only been on 2 fire calls, but a lot of emergency calls.
Yeah, we have a medical unit, quick response unit, and we've been on a few of them. Luckily, this year we haven't had many fires, so yet.
Yeah.
Kind
of looking scary there for a little bit
yes.
until this last couple, some people 5 inches of rain.
Yep. It was getting pretty brown, and it's going back there eventually. Certain grasses are drying up, and they're going to be fuel.
There's a lot of fuel out there, and hopefully we have grass throughout the winter time too. So
yes,
I need that. Before we get going here, tell us a little bit about what you do here for the Amidon Fire Department this week. Here, you started on August 4th. We're going to go through tomorrow, and it's your only fundraiser that you have.
Yeah, correct. This has been our big fundraiser for us. We've been able to upgrade a lot of our equipment due to this. We get terrific support from all the local people, the local businesses. They've all supported us just tremendously. And through that, like I say, we've upgraded a lot of our equipment so that we can respond and to fires or medical emergencies or whatever we have. And it's been a great thing for us.
What's the biggest expense at a rural fire department, whether it's Amidon or any of the other ones that around the Dakota Territory? What's one of the bigger expenses?
Equipment.
Just keeping the pumps running, everything going, or what's the?
Buying it and parts for it. Anytime you say medical, law enforcement, or fire, and look at equipment, it's expensive.
Yeah,
it's just automatically that way. And I don't know if that's because it's built in where they make it more dependable, because we do depend on it, to save lives. Yeah. And so that is our biggest thing is the equipment part.
And people got not only the chief here at the fire department, but the deputy sheriff for the was it Bowman Slope County? I mean, I don't know what.
Just Slope now.
Just Slope County now.
Yep.
Well, that's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Right? That's you don't need any more in Bowman County, that's for sure. Has the support, you'd have some sponsors here. We see Farm Credit Services and Mandan help you out quite a bit. Explain, if you have any sponsors, give them a shout out here across the radio, because a lot of folks don't realize how many it takes to come together,
Yeah, we do have some really good sponsors. Here's Dakota Community Bank in Bowman, Bronson's Marketplace, Dakota Western Bank, the Union Bank, Brian and Janine Clendenin from Bullseye Sports, Badlands Auto Body, 701 Meats, Frontier Travel Center, Bowman Livestock Marketing, and those are just bigger ones. Yeah. And then we have, people that come in here and give us a big check, individuals and certain ranches. And it's just been outstanding, the support we've gotten from this.
All volunteer, which most of these rural fire departments are always that way. There's no doubt about that. But how do you find enough people in Slope County to get on a volunteer firefighting?
That is getting to be a big issue. Yeah. The people we have are unfortunately getting older.
Yeah.
Except for me, of course. But that is an issue. And I know it's been an issue with other departments too, with people I've talked to, that we're running out of younger people. Right now, locally, we're kind of in a gap. There's a bunch of younger ones that are going to be coming up eventually, but it's going to be a while before they get up in there. And then we got to be able to keep them here, and.
So how does the transfer of ideas work when you're sitting around the table and everybody's like, well, the younger guys might want to update this, but the older guys are like, why update it? It still works. Right. I mean, how do you guys go about that?
We use a lot of hams.
A lot of hams beer.
A lot of hams, yes. Eventually the old guys get slower on the uptake when we give them more hams. So then we get some of the newer ideas into, and that's why we have these newer trucks is we've got a lot of people that got different ideas, and it's working.
Yeah. Well, you got a couple nice grass rigs here, and that's what we need in this country.
Yes.
I mean, and we have some country that's real easy to get to, and then Slope County gets pretty deep as you go west and north. So, I mean, how do how do you figure out what do you need for different areas? I mean, flatter country, rolling hills to the Badlands.
We've, we've been aware of our district has a very varied terrain.
Yeah.
And so we do have a couple trucks that we use just go east to Amidon where it's flatter and easier to get to. They're bigger trucks. And then we have our smaller grass units that we can get down into the draws and up over top of the hills and that sort of thing with. So, yeah, we have trucks to go this way and trucks to go that way.
So a lot of farmers, ranchers have their own stuff too anymore, don't they?
Yes. That has been a big trend lately is that due to the haying and the combining stuff that everybody gets the fire going and they got to wait for us because first of all, we got to get to the fire hall, then we got to get our trucks, then we got to get out there. So it takes time. So a lot of people have purchased their own small rigs. At least they got a chance at it.
Well, and even if 50 to 100 gallons puts a lot of fire out if you're there right away.
Yep. If you're quick on it, it gives them a good chance to get it shut down or at least hold it down enough till we get there and drench it
down with the beasto there.
Yeah.
So how late are you going to go on Sunday here? People are listening and they're like, you know what, let's make a trip to Amidon.
Right now,
why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
it's the tourist capital of the world. You got the highest point in North Dakota, just steps away.
Yes,
from the fire hall.
Indeed, and that's a big draw. It's good for the rattlesnakes and the flies.
Just a few snakes up there. I heard there's a nice trail going up there, or a parking spot now.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. There's a big parking lot. They've got a bench up on top, and they brought in porta potties during the summer, I guess.
Holy moly!
Parking lot. No, yeah, we're big time now.
Big time. Oh. I hear they even have a chance of getting an interpretive center here in town.
Okay.
You haven't heard that?
No.
Oh, I think they're working on the old school.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
They're gonna like a visitor center type of thing and all that.
Yep. They're trying to do that, and then I guess Bowman's got guest cards or something up there for. Yeah. They can go down to Bowman and buy a latte or whatever it is.
You should do the same thing here. If you make the hike up, it's only 3,000 some feet. I mean, you're starting halfway up the thing.
Yep.
Right. I mean, so you might as well come and get a Hams beer at the fire hall.
Yeah, you can go to Bowman and get a latte, or come up here and get a premium Hams. Premium. Yeah, it's premium beer.
You guys carry Bud Light here?
No. We haven't been woken yet.
You haven't been woken to that point here. Well, coming up, we'll continue this conversation about woke theory, and we don't have that so much in Amidon.
No, it's kind of lax.
It's kind of coming around the corner in some areas. So that's the scary part. So anyway, more coming up here. We're live from the Amidon Firehall during their burgers, brats, and beer, beverages, and everything fundraiser. If you have questions, comments, feel free to get a hold of me, and we'll answer them. And if you feel like we want to come here, we're open now. They're starting to clean the kitchen. We'll be back right after these messages. Piper's Auction and Realty invite you to the next equipment or land auction. Go to Pifers.com and check out the Sioux Falls Pre-Harvest 2023 Equipment Auction Tuesday, August 22nd. Then on Tuesday, August 29th, it's the Blana Ranch Retirement Auction out of Carrington, North Dakota. Thursday, September 7th, is the Upper Midwest timed online-only equipment auction. And on Monday, September 18th, it's the Bud James Agnew Family Trust Equipment Auction out of Minokan, North Dakota. For more information and to find an auction near you, go to Pifers.com.
As you know, the cattle prices are fluctuating. It can be difficult for livestock producers to protect their investment against unexpected future. Let Dakota Community Insurance protect you against the unexpected future declines in the cattle market with a livestock risk protection LRP policy. Contact Dakota Community Insurance today to discuss how LRP can help you manage your risk. Dakota Community Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Are you looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust makes it easy and convenient to find the best loan program and most current rates available. Whether you are shopping for a home for the first time or thinking about new construction or refinancing, we offer the assistance of an experienced mortgage officer, together with a convenient online or in-person application process. Let us walk alongside you to find that exact loan to meet your specific needs. Find your local home loan officer at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Pfeiffer's Auction and Realty invite you to the next equipment or land auction. Go to Pfeiffer's.com and check out the Sioux Falls Pre-Harvest 2023 Equipment Auction Tuesday, August 22nd. Then on Tuesday, August 29th, it's the Blana Ranch Retirement Auction out of Carrington, North Dakota. Thursday, September 7th is the Upper Midwest timed online-only equipment auction. And on Monday, September 18th, it's the Bud James Agnew Family Trust Equipment Auction out of Minokan, North Dakota. For more information and to find an auction near you, go to Pfeiffer's.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Bowman and Hettinger.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Good to have you along here all across the Dakota Territory from Pierre, Mobridge, Bismarck, Minot, Dickinson, and surrounding stations. 6 states and a couple Canadian provinces there, Mr. Fredericks. That's how many people are listening there this morning.
Now I'm overwhelmed and scared.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
Yet? Are you going woke? We finished being woke here.
No, I'm not quite that bad yet.
How come that's kind of a big thing anymore in the urban areas? What's going on? And then we'll get into something that really grinds my gears. I'll tell you that.
You wondering why they're getting woke?
Well, yeah. What's going on here? What do you think? I mean, you've been around a long time. What's the scoop?
Everybody's getting stupider.
Parenting or what?
Stupider.
I see stupider.
Yeah, let's just put stupider on there, and it'll cover it all.
Stupider. I don't even know if that's a word.
Well, it is now.
So here, the one that really gets me, and I didn't know about this except for 2 years ago. Have you heard of furries?
I've heard of it. I'm not real sure what it is.
The kids dress up as cats.
Oh, yes. Now I know what you're talking about.
Lord.
There's that stupider thing again.
Yeah, it is. But the parents allow this.
Yes, that's the problem.
Yeah, so that's the problem. And what do you got in the background over here? We got people. You got a furry on your phone. There's one right there. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. Really. All right, so Amidon Fire Department again. Fundraiser going on today and tomorrow still during the bike rally. Get a lot of bikers in here still.
Yeah, we still get a few stop
Yeah,
in during the day. It's not as many as it used to be. It's now we're more local people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of strangers stop in the evenings. You know, they see the crowd and just want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then they smell all the stuff cooking and belly up to the bar.
All right, so let's talk about that. These brats
Yeah.
are gigantic.
Yes, they are.
Who decided that the size of these things?
Well, actually, 701 Meats started on it, and
Okay.
we decided, well, let's go with it, but we're going to cut them down a little bit. There's a little bit too much there. It's overwhelming to people. You know, they're 9 inches long, and what is it? About an inch and a half
Yeah.
in circumference. So they're absolutely huge, but. The ones I just got yesterday, I said cut them down an inch at least. So it's getting ridiculous. In fact, one guy come up here and he picked one up and he looked down at it and he says, "That's intimidating."
Yeah, it's bad when your food's intimidating you.
Yes.
Well, you going on? I mean, how late do you stay at nights? Sometimes it depends on
usually-
the crowd, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
last night they were still here when I left at 10:30. I think there was like 2 tables just sitting here just drinking beer and
Yeah.
stuff and bullshitting mostly.
Yeah.
So we usually get done cleaning up. It takes us probably 2 hours to clean up everything after we're done shutting
you
down
got
stuff.
people coming in this morning already cleaning things
Well,
up too. I mean,
yeah, we got a couple guys that go in and clean the grill because we got to let it cool down. It takes a long time to cool that thing down. So they come in and clean it up in the morning.
that's nice. Fires this year, only 2 of them. Hopefully, that's the only ones that you respond on. But
Yeah.
where does the biggest finance, besides the fundraiser you're doing here, where is there any grants that you apply for? Where does the other money come to help support some these rural fire departments?
When we go to buy a truck, we usually do put in grants
Okay.
from several different places, and we've been really good at getting them too. So, without the grants, we probably wouldn't be able to afford these because these trucks cost a lot of money by the time you put them together with fire equipment.
Tell us what a grass rig costs.
Oh, we're looking well over 100,000 by the time you get it.
Have you seen what the price of the new half-ton pickups are?
No, I don't want to go.
It's cheaper to put one of these together.
Yeah,
right now, I
it is.
think.
Well, and you got to remember now that price was a couple of years ago. I
Yeah.
think the newest one we've got is at 21 or 22 now.
Sure.
And then we get a pretty good bargain usually on because we're a fire department. Everybody gives us a break.
Yeah.
As far as the trucks go, Bowman Sales and Service has been great supplying trucks for us. And then, but when you start adding the equipment on like that, it adds up in a hurry. You know, it's ridiculous.
And a lot of the work you guys kind of do yourselves here too.
We do, although we're sliding more towards when we start putting these newer ones together. We've been hiring that done too. So it's easier and it's faster because we just don't have the personnel or the time to do that anymore. And plus it's getting more technical, with the wiring and all that, putting everything together.
It's not like the old 85 Chevy pickups anymore, is it?
No,
Yeah.
you don't just throw a light on top of it and watch it go zingity, zingity, zingity anymore. And you got to tie all this stuff together, the radio systems, so we have to communicate with other departments.
How is it working with other departments around this area?
It's great. We have a very good relationship with everybody that surrounds us. We have mutual aid agreements with all departments. And a lot of times, as soon as somebody sees the smoke, they just come a running. We don't even have to notify them. But, as soon as we do, if we, see we're getting out of hand, we need help, we just call state radio and have them page that, and they're there as fast as they can get there.
So I got a couple questions coming in. Are you ready for these?
You bet.
The mayor of Mulbridge says, is the Quigley chute still in Amidon?
I'm not sure. I don't think it is. Isn't that out in Montana?
I don't know.
I think the Quigley chute's in Montana.
Is it? Well, there must have been one here in Amidon years ago.
There was one years ago. I know. I think Farrell Lord's had it out at his place, but I don't believe they have that anymore. I wouldn't swer to it, but I don't think so.
The Medicine Rocks, I think next weekend or this weekend, and then they have the Buffalo shoot the following month, I guess that's down there. What else is going on here? Let's see here. What What's with the no weapons signs in Fargo?
Huh?
I don't know what Eric. I'm not sure. He said he went to a concert in Fargo last night, which I don't know who would have been in Fargo. But what's with the no weapons signs in Fargo? Let's talk about that.
That's a little out of my area as Fargo.
It's out of your jurisdiction as a deputy sheriff.
Yeah, I don't think we have that under our control.
Yeah. But you look even around this area, you go into some of the banks or anything, and I understand no weapons, but can you name one vehicle in Slope County that doesn't have some type of a firearm or weapon in it?
Maybe the preachers.
The preachers?
Yeah, that'd be about the only one I can think
Might
of.
have holy water.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even put that past them.
But do you see, is that an issue? I mean, as a man of law enforcement, if you have somebody pulled over, is that a worry? Is that a big concern anymore? I mean,
it's a concern. It always has been. When you pull up on a strange vehicle, you got to be aware that you don't know who that person is, what they're thinking, what they're got going. So you're always aware that there's a pretty good possibility they might have a weapon in there. Yeah. And most people are pretty good. If they do have a weapon, they just tell you that, hey, I've got my pistol here. So, okay, that's fine. Just keep your hands away from it until we get done here. And, we're happy.
We're happy. How many years have you been in law enforcement?
I was licensed in 1985.
Expecting me to do the math?
No, that's why I said that, because I couldn't remember what the math was.
Since 1985, have you ever had an issue where you had to worry about somebody having weapons in a vehicle?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've had to pull my weapon several times. Luckily, I've never had to shoot anybody, and nobody shot back at me. So, that's a good thing. But yeah, it's always, it's always there when you're in law enforcement.
So
it always has been.
So let's take, for instance, I better check my time, make sure we have a little bit of time to, we got a minute to test. So you've heard about the police officer in Fargo.
Yes.
Right? That's just getting more and more of these urban areas, but it's not out of our realm either, because we're on Highway 85 here. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
I wouldn't say certain little white bags of things going up and down Highway 85.
Yeah, Highway 85 has always been a major thoroughfare for a drug run.
Yeah.
They come up out of Denver, in Mexico or wherever, and going north up in, especially after the oil patch started.
Wow.
That got to be really prevalent, and it's a major corridor.
What's the drug of choice that people are scared of right now?
Right now, it's xylitine is probably the worst, which is even worse than fentanyl.
Really?
Yeah, it's
never heard of that.
It's an animal tranquilizer, and it's even more. Narcan doesn't even bother it. Narcan you can give to somebody that's overdosed on fentanyl or any of the other drugs, and it'll bring them up out of it, hopefully.
Wow.
But apparently that does not affect this xylitine. It's fairly new stuff, but it's starting to get more prevalent again in the big drug centers.
Yeah, we don't need that stuff. No. I know we're up against a half-hour break. We're going to take a little bit. We're live from the Amidon Firehall, as you can see here in the background. If you're on the YouTube side of things watching, if you have any questions, comments coming up in the second half, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll figure it out as we keep going here. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Back after these messages.
Pfeiffer's Auction and Realty invite you to the next equipment or land auction. Go to Pfeiffer's.com and check out the Sioux Falls Pre-Harvest 2023 Equipment Auction Tuesday, August 22nd. Then on Tuesday, August 29th, it's the Blana Ranch Retirement Auction out of Carrington, North Dakota. Thursday, September 7th is the Upper Midwest timed online-only equipment auction. And on Monday, September 18th, it's the Bud James Agnew Family Trust Equipment Auction out of Minokan, North Dakota. For more information and to find an auction near you, go to Pfeiffer's.com.
As you know, the cattle prices are fluctuating. It can be difficult for livestock producers to protect their investment against unexpected future. Let Dakota Community Insurance protect you against the unexpected future declines in the cattle market with a livestock risk protection LRP policy. Contact Dakota Community Insurance today to discuss how LRP can help you manage your risk. Dakota Community Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Are you looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust makes it easy and convenient to find the best loan program and most current rates available. Whether you are shopping for a home for the first time or thinking about new construction or refinancing, we offer the assistance of an experienced mortgage officer, together with a convenient online or in-person application process. Let us walk alongside you to find that exact loan to meet your specific needs. Find your local home loan officer at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Pfeiffer's Auction and Realty invite you to the next equipment or land auction. Go to Pfeiffer's.com and check out the Sioux Falls Pre-Harvest 2023 Equipment Auction Tuesday, August 22nd. Then on Tuesday, August 29th, it's the Blana Ranch Retirement Auction out of Carrington, North Dakota. Thursday, September 7th is the Upper Midwest timed online-only equipment auction. And on Monday, September 18th, it's the Bud James Agnew Family Trust Equipment Auction out of Minokan, North Dakota. For more information and to find an auction near you, go to Pfeiffer's.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Bowman and Hettinger.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Dakota Prairie Doors Saturday edition. If I could speak here, Jim, I tell you what.
Yeah, just go ahead and say that 10 times.
Yeah, there you go. Benny Paulson music on the background.
All right.
You like
Gotta
that?
love- You bet I do.
Benny Paulson. And I have to remind YouTube about this. He did give me permission to use that music. So that's kind of a big deal anymore. Jim Sabby from Pfeiffer's Auction Realty. Dry Creek Ranch. What else? You got another side hustle business? Are you selling rodent and fields too?
No, it's basically I'm not around the ranch much anymore, but daughter and son-in-law are running that. And
Another generation taking her over.
yeah, my daughter's the 5th generation, and hopefully my grandkids will be the 6th. And established in 1907, a long time ago, and hopefully can keep the tradition going. And then, of course, I do work with Pfeiffer's Auction and Realty, and kind of on the road every day of the week for that. So I get home, I do my downtime either at the ranch, mowing the lawn, or help work cattle.
Or coming to Amidon Firehall.
Yes, I tell you what, this is the greatest.
Right.
There's a lot of things I look forward to.
What brings you to the fire hall for this stuff? I mean,
well, number one, I used to be many years ago on the Scranton Fire Department, and then we just got so busy, and the fire department is grown quite a bit, but I like supporting the fire departments.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing in our community that, boy, you find out in a hurry how things go when you don't have a fire department, and when you have the ones like you have up here in Scranton and Reeder, and you know Bowman is all volunteer also, but all these small towns, they need help with
Yeah.
with funding. And when you see the crowds that have been here, now I will say this: I've been here 4 times this last
out of the 10 days. You
yeah,
always,
you know. But what's nice is you come up here and you get to visit with people that you don't get to see more than 2-3 times a year.
if that.
You know,
Yeah.
and so you sit at the table and you come up here, you can sit at any table and sit down and visit with somebody. A lot of communities you can't do that, and here everybody's just so gracious, but it's just kind of fun to sit and visit. You're talking about the weather. Doesn't matter if it's all the rain we've had or if it's a dry year or cattle prices or grain prices,
Or antelope tags.
grasshoppers. But you know, and then you sit down and visit with some of these people that are just stopping in here. You know, the first day I visited with some bikers, and the next day with some people that, well, I think Scott, you were here that one day when a lady needed air in her tire right out front here.
Yeah. Yeah, she
and,
did.
You
Yeah.
know, and you know, she was pulled up here and kind of in a panic. And Scott says, "We got an air hose right here,
Yeah.
you know, to help her out."
She said, are you guys from around here? You know where I can get some air? I'm like, there are hose reels literally above your head, but I don't
Yeah.
think she knew what a hose reel was.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just a friendly community, and I really like, you know, this event and the Slope County Fair are 2 things that I really enjoy being up here for, because you can just sit and visit with all the locals, and I'm saying locals are 50 miles away, you know, so
Well,
it's
even more than that.
yeah,
Because last night I consider Roy Lutz a local, but he lives in the Montana side.
right.
You
Right.
know, Daryl says that the truth is you're just here for the beer, Jim.
You know, I'm not going to deny that. You know, the burgers and the brats are good, but boy, I tell you what, the beer tastes good. No,
I got to read through some of these comments here, but anyway, yeah, we supporting the locals, right? And it doesn't matter, no matter North and South Dakota is where the stations here. There are those local fire departments and even the urban ones too. I mean, you got to take care of those as well, but I believe some of those are paid positions, and like the bigger part,
certain towns, but you know, like we try supporting the Ludlow Fire Department, the Scranton Fire Department, the Rame, and then you go to the Reeder and the Scranton and New England Fire Department. So we try to hit them up, you know, and it's a great donation. You know where your money is going. And that's the biggest key is you know where your money's going when you come
Absolutely.
here, and a lot of these guys are your neighbors, you know, and they come and help you out. They drop everything that they have to come help put out a fire, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's guys that are
even neighbors that don't get along will stop and come help you.
They will,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what's kind of unique about this. But it's just a fun event right along Highway 85 here, and if you haven't stopped, folks, you got 3 days left to get in here, and well, Friday. Today's Saturday. I'm already lost on days. You got Saturday, Saturday and Sunday, and stop in here and just say hi. And if anything, just have a Hams beer.
Have a Hams beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put the challenge out there that until tomorrow at when are we giving the guns away? We're giving the guns away 5 o'clock. Okay, from now until 5 o'clock. If you say you came and heard it on the radio or YouTube, they can put a Hams beer on my tab. All right,
There you go.
Can tell them that here. So we're going to give some guns away here, and those are 45 ACP, and we have a 223 rim, 223 rifle there. It was a $10 per square thing, and it seems like gun raffles are one of the bigger fundraisers that people do. I mean, but the state is getting harder and harder to work with.
Yes.
Why is that? I mean, why can't they let us raise money for local events?
They want to be in control of everything. And that's, you know what, my big thing is local control. Let us do the way we do it. You don't need to keep sticking your fingers in everything we do out here. And, you know, everything is done for a purpose, and it's fundraising. And they want their percentage. They want this. I mean, anything you do, you look, the state's always getting a percentage. To me, they're getting too big a percentage of everything the way it is. You know, you go in and have all the bills that they do during the session. there's no reason why we need that many new laws on the books every year, every 2 years, every 2 years. Yeah, and that's right. They're justifying their jobs, and there's some that just say no all the time, and some of them just keep doing it. But anytime you get them involved in something, it's another hoop and it's another detour that some groups are probably not going to take anymore. They just say, well, we're not going to do it. We got too many things going on and we're not going to worry about the state dictating to us. So we're just not going to do it. So it's kind of the thing that you look at how many groups, I mean, you got how many FFA groups that are raffling off guns, how many other places are. I mean, I can buy tickets for guns.
Hockey teams.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the biggest
Yeah.
ones in, I believe it's in the liberal area on the
Yeah.
other side of the state. Is one of the biggest raffles they have
Yep.
is a gun raffle.
It is, and it's their best fundraiser, and it's really kind of nice to see that most of those people realize that everybody wants a gun, and whether it's $10 a ticket or $100 a ticket, you're going to sell out.
Oh, I'm going to say that not everybody wants a gun anymore. It used to be that way.
It was, but most normal people would take a gun. How's that?
Hold on. Oh, you gotta have a microphone if you're gonna add into here.
The thing is, they got a choice with these boards.
Yeah.
If you don't want a gun, don't get in on it.
That's right.
And if you want to take a chance at it, get on the board.
So guess what? My brother, he bought a old vehicle from one of my neighbors. Came and picked it up the last week, and he reaches in the back of his pickup. He said, "Scott, I got something for you." And he pulls out my BB gun when I was a kid. And he gave me my old BB gun. And I went from the old, what was the Daisy with that lever where you cocked it with the lever.
Yeah.
And that thing kind of just went down. So I got a new BB gun when I was a kid and shot pellets too.
Yeah.
So he brought that. I was so excited to see that old BB gun, just dirty and all, probably still in the barn somewhere. He found it and he brought it out to me. I was still excited about that.
Yeah.
And
guns are a fascination for me. I mean, I love guns. I sell a lot of them. As a company, we sell a lot of guns, but I just like looking at them. There's a lot of history. Some of the guns we sold were in the 1860s, 1870s, but there's so much history with these guns, and it's basically how America was made. And brought to everybody's attention that, hey, we can protect ourselves.
That's how the West was won, right?
That's right. Yeah. Between Copenhagen and steak and guns, it took care of it all.
Now you're just talking what we do in Slope County again. Right? I don't think that really changes a whole lot. So are we going to start seeing more and more of the restriction, do you think, on gun sales? I mean, especially for an auction sale type of thing, you're going to start seeing more and more of got to have FFL dealers do every single one of them, even if it's an estate sale.
I don't know. And it's the law is really varies between estate versus just selling guns. If you're just selling guns for somebody, you got to have FFL. If it's an estate, you're allowed to sell guns without an FFL. Right. And I don't know if they're going to change that, but that is the current law. And sometimes you don't know who you're selling to. But I will say this, there's a lot of people that sell guns online that they're meeting somewhere in Bismarck or whatever and transferring cash for a gun. You're never going to get away from somebody not having the ability to get a gun.
But we really don't want to get rid of them.
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, every country in the world knows
what
we're
happens.
well armed.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And not only that way, we're going to stand up for our rights too.
Right. And so I don't know how that's going to work. I just, again, regulation after regulation is proven doesn't work.
Remember back in the day, I can say that now that I'm almost 50. Remember back in my first show and tell in kindergarten was a 12-gauge shotgun I took to school.
Yeah.
Remember, I mean that's we had gun racks in our pickups.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody
what we did. Yeah.
You had your guns with and your trapping equipment because you check your trap lines coming into town, and you probably had some stuff laying in the back of your pickup. And then the first when we did gun safety, I was in probably the first class, and I think it was first class in Bowman County, but we did that right in the school classroom, and all these guns were brought in
too, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. And I still say kids should be taught hunter safety every year, because every class should go through it, just like driver's ed. maybe you're not going to ever use it. There's people that don't drive that have to take driver's ed. So why not make every kid, just so you're aware of what you do with a gun?
At least if you do find something, say you find it on the playground, they know how to handle that firearm and take it to the teacher correct and safely, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think there's funding that we could easily use that for.
Oh, I know.
I think that hunter safety instructors should be paid.
I do too.
That's one of the things.
Yep.
I think.
And we've had some great ones over the years, and Gary Shimanowski was the one that did it in Bowman County and Scranton and he was still going up until about the last 10 years, but Gary did it for all those years. And now he's helping with the shooting sports in Scranton and heading there for the kids in school to have a shooting club. And you got to appreciate people like that, but that's volunteer time. And, so a lot of those guys, I think they should be paid, and they're certified to do it already. Why not pay them?
Well, I got a whole bunch of comments as we're talking about guns, right? Of course, and BB guns too. One of the questions is, what's the favorite firearm or caliber for a gun raffle? That is a tough one. That's a tough one because it depends on who you are.
Right.
I mean, if it's a $10 board, I don't care what it is. I'm putting $10 on it. But if it's a $100 ticket, I want to know what it is.
Right.
But it depends on what I'm after at that time. Like right now, I'd love to have a 22 Creed or 26 Nosler. And those are expensive type of guns, but I don't know what most people donate. I guess 17s, I think, is one I see a lot of.
17s, 22s, and 223s are seems like on about every board I ever get on, and and I don't use any of those guns. I 222 or 223. My girls have 223s, and they like shooting them because they're a nice light gun, and they can shoot about anything with them. But that isn't my gun of choice. But if it's $10 board, I'm going to get on it also. Does it really matter? Yeah. No. It's more of the donation, and the fire district's making the money. Why not get on it?
Absolutely. The mayor says, I have to admit, I'm kind of picky about the guns. Like it's got to be a cool lever action or a modern 1911. He says, but I'm I'm one of the minorities. Well, all of us are the minorities right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
My gun of choice is I love the 30-30s. And I grew up on the 30-30 lever action. And, I think right now I've got 5-6 of them sitting in my gun safe, but I try to pick out different 30-30s.
Hold on. If you got 5 or 6 of them in your gun safe, that's a massive amount, according to the new national news. That's a massive amount of firearms.
I only have one in my gun safe as of right now, but I just like collecting them. Yeah. They're great brush gun is what I call them, and
it's I call it a great get out of the pickup quick rifle. Yeah.
But the first deer I ever shot was with a 30-30. Yeah. And I remember it well as a kid. I was probably 14, 15 years old, and so that's my gun of choice, and I try to look for them first, and then I just try to find rare guns.
So listening to national news once in a while when there is a shooting, right, which is terrible to have, school shootings or any type of mass shootings, they always make the point of saying he had like 500 rounds of ammunition and make that sound bad. Don't come down to my basement.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm listening to this going, why do you only have 500? Yeah. What's the scoop there? I mean, was he? They must have ran out or something, right? But so when is that going to be coming down the line? It's as a deputy sheriff, if they made the rule, give the mic over to the deputy here. If they made the rule, it says, well, you're going to have to go start collecting guns from all the people. How would that go for you?
I would get on the law enforcement immediately.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you're going to get shot if you try doing it for some people, and I wouldn't blame them a bit. I'm the same way.
Would you enforce it?
No, I would not.
And some areas would.
Oh yeah, like your urban areas especially would, and there are certain counties that would too.
Absolutely.
They're strictly by the book, but I wouldn't have anything to do with it myself. Oh, and you were saying about the rifles.
Yes.
This rifle that we're auctioning off now is kind of taking the place of the 30-30s. This 223 is really popular, yeah. And this one is American Ranch. It's called
the American Rancher. Yeah.
It's real short. It's easy to get in and out of a side-by-side or a pickup, and that's kind of why we picked it.
Can you shoot it while you're driving out the window?
Oh yeah.
You can.
You bet.
Can't say legally, but you can do it.
I was going to point out too that with the pistol, we had these on our Facebook page, to advertise them,
I
And
bet that went over well, didn't it?
Facebook took it off.
Facebook, yeah.
They left the rifle on, but they took the pistol part off.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're sold out of squares anyway.
Yep, we're sold
You
out.
could do 3 boards, you know that. You could easily do 3 boards. There's no.
Yeah, it's really popular. It doesn't take long to fill them up, especially with if you got good firearms. So,
All right. So the mayor says that you like 30-30s.
Yes.
He says I should buy you a hams right now.
And you know what? I would drink it.
I can do that. That's almost within an arm reach away here. The couple people are agreeing there should be mandatory hunter safety in schools.
Yeah.
And that is true. It really should be. But all right, Jim, we got to talk about antelope tags. After the gratis tags were given out, only 107 or 170 regular tags for antelope this year, pronghorn antelope.
Right.
That's how the numbers went down.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I mean,
a
lot of units are closed back up again.
Right. And I don't understand it. I travel a lot of the state, and I do see a lot of antelope versus deer. I don't see the deer that I saw, but the antelope, the numbers are to me are pretty good. This morning driving up here, I drove by a group of about 30 of them north of Scranton, and there's.
Now you're telling everybody who's got the tag in that unit where to go.
Yeah, they're north of Scranton.
North of Scranton.
And I tell you what, just go talk to the local farmer rancher. But I don't understand it, but I know there's guys with preference points that haven't been able to get a tag.
Yeah, Jesse had 10 preference points, and he still hasn't been drawn.
And I don't understand. I think a lot of it is they pick and choose, and where they want to send people, and who gets the tags, and they say that's not true. But
actually, Jesse contacted the Jeb Williams, and they had a good conversation. Jesse told me we're going to talk about it next week on how they determine all of this. And it's actually a really good system that they have that way.
Well, hopefully it is.
So we'll be explaining that next week.
But there's a lot of things I don't understand with how they game and fish with tags, especially towards the landowners on certain deals where, you elk guys, you just don't get to see them get their tags like they should. And I know sometimes that's taken care of privately, but there's something's got to change on some of that.
Well, you talk about understanding. Have you ever understood women?
Oh, Lord. No. Well, there's a reason I'm in divorce, probably.
So I'll tell you what. So this guy came across, he's digging a ditch, and he came across a bottle, and he rubbed it, and the genie popped out of it, right? And he says, I'll grant you one wish and one wish only. And he says, that's easy. He says, I don't like flying. He says, I want a highway from here to Hawaii so I can drive to Hawaii. And the genie says, that's nearly impossible. Can you ask for anything else? And he says, yeah, let me understand women a little bit better. And he said, would you like a 3 or a 4-lane highway? Jim, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate it. If you stop by the fire hall here in Amidon, North Dakota, watch out for the sheriff that's sitting out in the car that's been there for a long, long time. He gets everybody. Eat some meat, drink some milk, have yourself a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in today. All right, thanks, radio stations. Appreciate it. You guys have yourself a great day.